saw in that game, you know, he didn't have that much healing. Couldn't use Wrath of Terra as effectively as he wanted. That was routinely getting pulled out of him, as you said, defensively. So unfortunately, that's not going to work. And I love this from Elevate. Let's get that Odin out of here. Don't want to see Wolves on that again.
Yep.
That's the right call.
I feel like every now and then a North America team will decide we can handle it, and they let it go through, and then they remember why everybody bans Odin against Wolves to begin with. And I also am loving the Athena ban here. Elevate definitely eliminating two of the main problems that they ran into, I think, in the first match.
Well, Daji is going to be first selected by Elevate. I believe this was banned out in game 1, so they didn't have it available to pick. But now they will have this jungler available. Janus, another one we didn't get to see. Now he's going to be on the side of Astral. But I want to talk about this Daji pick. We don't see her that much. The Palaw's very strong, able to get good control from it, burn beads often, hopefully find them when the beads are down, and pull them back in, and has tons of damage off that horrible burn.
Because it's DoctorL, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But normally I'm not a huge fan of seeing Daji as a first pick.
Right.
And mostly because of the fact that Astral already have two gods with CC immune ultimates between the Guan and the Janus, as well as heavy disengage with that through space and time. Daji trying to keep track of the Janus, though, probably a little bit easier than some of the other junglers. She does have that Trickster Spirit to keep up a little bit better, but there's also the concern if you try to teleport onto the Janus with that burst damage, you're probably also going to end up having him go straight through a portal.
Might catch an Unstable Vortex to the face, too. Certainly wouldn't want that, as Hachiman comes out to add more CC immunity to the ever-growing list for Astral Authority and make life hard on this Daji. Though they do have some really strong picks they've paired up with it. The Agni going to be coming in along with the Chulainn. Chulainn, we saw Nexamiss on this last game, was very tanky for them, but never really got to do quite as much as what Wolves was doing. And the Agni, which they're going to be taking away from oBoronic.
I like the Artio and Xbalanque ban choices also from Astral. Artio to make sure that Cripple Field won't be a danger towards the Janus and the Hachiman. Guan probably doesn't really care too much about that Artio, but the Xbalanque also, Zachsy's got a great Xbalanque. Xbalanque probably has a little bit better survivability too in comparison to the Ho Yi, and Astral building too this pressure with the Sylvanus.
Hey, we're gonna play that Sylvanus this time. Show you how it's done. Feels like a little bit of that. As I like this Erlong Shen ban that came out from Elevate this time. It was being played so well last game. Get that out of there and try and force him to beat you with something else. But now Ullr's coming in. I don't know, Taco, personally, I'm not a huge Ullr fan. He is strong in lane, and Ullr Terra is definitely scary. A lot of kill potential there in the duo lane, but I don't know. I'd rather have almost any other hunter in a late fight.
I feel like I would have any other hunter, even for the early fights. Ullr in the mid lane, there's something to be said about being able to start two abilities level 1. You can get the pressure sometimes, and against the Janus even, I think that it could work. But here, against the Hachiman, there's not really a pressure advantage to be had. He's got the Sylvanus to help compensate what the Bladed Arrow clear might provide, and I think between the cleave autos from KingMyrK as well as just the Heavenly Banner from Cyprexa, Astral Authority should be able to outclear Elevate still.
Should certainly be in a good spot in this duo lane. We'll follow along with them, as it is going to certainly be Zachsy taking that Ullr over to the duo side of things. Astral, remember, already picked up a win here. We're in game 2. If they can grab this one as well, they'll close this set out in 2 games. If not, Elevate can force this all the way to a game 3, but they're going to have to make this work. They've got the Daji for DoctorL. They've got Zachsy on this Ullr. If they can make these 2 picks work, then they certainly have a good chance.
Elevate just have to snowball this early game heavily. You're in a race against the clock, it feels, whenever you've got that Ullr in the hunter role, and I know that Zachsy is an experienced enough player to understand some of the flaws that come with taking Ullr into the ADC position. And so he really just has to be on point with every single one of those axe stuns, every single one of the Bladed Arrow, Hail of Arrow combinations. If Elevate can find the picks early on, then they might have the potential to carry that momentum from the early into the mid and close this out before Astral Authority has a chance to hit the late game.
And why is it you feel like Ullr's not as good late, Taco? Because I know there are a lot of people who feel like Ullr's always, you know, beating up on them in lane, or like they feel like they got abandoned in their ranked games. What is it that you feel like he falls on?
Because all that happens is the moment you see an Ullr still standing in bow form as a fight is about to break out, you just commit to him immediately. You CC him, and he's dead before he even has a chance to swap stances. That's one of the main reasons why I think he's kind of fallen out of grace with the pro scene over on PC, and also part of the reason why he's starting to slip away here, as KingMyrK going to get isolated now. Sprint has been popped from both sides, and KingMyrK on the run might not have a chance to escape here.
Is being slowed now by IAmTheHamster. That's why he dropped down that pillar. Heavenly Banner comes in. KingMyrK has a chance to try and loop back around through the tower. Perfect. This is where Ullr is strong. Does a good job bullying out Sylvanus and forcing him to use Sprint, but they use a Sprint of their own. Really not too much lost by this Astral duo.
I actually really like what Astral Authority did there. They see Zachsy and IAmTheHamster going for the red buff right away, so they just take the purple buff for free.
Grab that one for themselves. Meanwhile, a lot of pressure in the mid lane. You can see Layers already low HP-wise. That's freed up DoctorL to come into the jungle, being a little bit greedy, looking for farm. I think he's waiting on Layers to start doing this camp, and not just do the camp, but give up his escape. DoctorL not going to be able to chase him. Instead, he's going to steal that last Harpy, but a great play to force Layers back early.
Worth it every time, though. DoctorL, not done just yet either. Still looking for more with Commando Snipes. We'll probably be able to confirm these back Harpies. Also, no, oBoronic's Unstable Vortex going to be able to steal the main one, the biggest Harpy, and so that's going to be the best swing of experience.
That's another part of why Janus is so strong, Taco, because Unstable Vortex such good jungle clear. Commando Snipes, I knew ye well. Astral find first blood between the Janus and the Susano. Even with a great play from DoctorL in the jungle, it just didn't matter.
No beads used either from Commando Snipes there. Probably, I can't tell if that was just him assuming he was dead after getting his dash caught out, and it's a fair assumption to make. Right in front of Layers and oBoronic. I think it was also a cheeky portal placement from oBoronic.
Ends up making a great play there to catch him out, and that's just... How important is it that oBoronic's able to come over and grab that last back Harpy, or that Layers able to survive against DoctorL in the jungle? You know, it's these small little domino plays that end up resulting now in Astral being the ones who can find a kill in the mid lane, who have a small little XP lead that they're able to use to win that fight, and now they are the ones that grab the first kill of the game. It's so many small things that you can do correctly to put yourself in a good position to make a highlight play later on.
The more frightening part also is just the fact that it was oBoronic who got the first blood credit, so he'll have a very clear advantage over Commando Snipes right from the get-go in terms of being able to finish off his items first. And I wouldn't be too surprised to see oBoronic maybe opt for penetration boots straight into a Chronos Pendant.
I love me some Chronos Pendant on Janus, so certainly wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing that. Speaking of the build, they are going a very different build path. Commando Snipes is again going with that Band Cross Talon rush, as opposed to oBoronic, who's going with the Mage's Blessing, as you said, right into the pin boots, and possibly waiting on some cooldown, but this could be trouble. The junglers are both here. KingMyrK going to be initial target. Trickster Spirit comes out. DoctorL, though, does not have the Pal out. He's definitely an easy target. If they want to go in through space and time, clips him, because of course it does. 2 kills for Astral over in duo, and Zachsy could be in trouble too, but Astral fall back.
Luckily for Zachsy, Layers is completely spent on mana, so he won't be able to pursue this any further. But the fact that Layers rotates in with Typhoon, that's what sets the difference between DoctorL's gank and Layers joining the fray. Jetstream to stay on top of DoctorL the whole way through that engagement also. And the kills were just way too easy to confirm. Although oBoronic, I will say, probably came at a surprise.
Daji is definitely one of those gods whose level 5 gank is so much better. You know, there's some guy like Serket still has great ganks even before level 5, just with Cobra's Kiss and Ambush, but and Deathbane damage. But I mean, this time coming in, not having the way to get up out of that fight, not having that extra CC coming out from DoctorL made such a big difference. And Layers had the Typhoon, and he ends up getting his 3rd assist of the game.
Layers did end up losing his purification beads in all of that, though, and DoctorL still has his blink available.
That's
so
right.
There is that, but these small leads are what are really going to amount to the bigger problems later on. And we were already talking about how Elevate kind of needed this early game to go in their favor.
And already things are kind of going the exact opposite of that for them, off great play from yet again Layers and oBoronic. This time, though, there has been some good duo play as well. They've come over to that duo lane and been able to pair up well with KingMyrK and Cyprexa. That's helped them out a good bit. But you said that DoctorL still has that blink, Taco. Certainly still an opportunity for him to go into one of these lanes and try and have an impact. But it looks like it might be Layers first. They're grouping around the jungle, Zachsy and IAmTheHamster. I think they recognize it, though. They're not stepping forward.
They don't have any wards there either. They're kind of just have the player intuition, I think, to know better that when a hunter is trying to freeze wave by themselves in the face of two different members from the duo lane, it's usually pretty safe to assume there's someone waiting in the jungle to collapse on me if I move forward.
Unfortunately, they did not, so instead, Layers just kind of wastes a little bit of time and heads back towards the mid lane. Is going to run back into DoctorL, along with Commando Snipes, and Wolves able to find Nexamiss. That's a solo kill, is what we call that. Wolves, even not on the Odin, still having a good game.
Yeah, Wolves was fed up with Nexamiss in the previous match, constantly stealing his blue buffs, thanks to some additional help from DoctorL, but since Astral Authority had such a great start in their dual lane, it's had to be DoctorL looking to help compensate for it by rotating over. And when your gank is unsuccessful, you're even more pressured to commit to that side of the map and try to help alleviate some of the laning issues that Elevate have been experiencing over there. So there's no one to help provide any assistance during Nexamiss.
Now it's time for a red buff invade, and Wrath of Terra's committed, but can't knock up the Terra here, it looks like. Red buff is spawned. DoctorL, Commando Snipes, and Hamster are all here, along with Zachsy. They have a chance to defend this. In fact, Cyprexa gets caught out and deleted. Zachsy gets the last hit on that to get Elevate their first kill, and they'll be able to defend the buff.
Yeah, that's just the moment where Cyprexa needs to stop being stubborn and use the beads. He had Purification beads available the whole time and was just totally cool with absorbing the damage anyway.
They're still fighting though, Taco. DoctorL is up on the powwow, is able to find the chain and pull back in the Sylvanus, and has him pinned up against the wall. DoctorL finds that kill too. Two quick ones in a row for Astral Authority, but they're not done fighting just yet. Hamster drops the root. Layers still fighting, even without much mana, but DoctorL's in hands are going to be swinging. Can only find one, and now oBoronic rotates in, and he's looking to try and catch him out, but it's a wall. That means now Hamster can come in. Commando Snipes has the bombs, and he ends up paying as well. 3 quick kills for Elevate to respond.
A little bit too much tunnel vision, but Cyprexa is back. Mounted archery to get the double before Commando Snipes takes him out with the flame wave, and a nice response. At least Commando Snipes managed to finish off Cyprexa, but getting 2 kills before dying one more time, it's still worth it.
Still 2 nice kills that Cyprexa is absolutely happy to have. The only problem with that really for the Hunter is that Zachsy, still alive and kicking, is going to be able to push up that wave, even going to come try and strip away the purple buff, which KingMyrK is trying to do. So this is some farm Zachsy's getting that. Cyprexa just is not.
But Zachsy, knowing to back off, with the way that KingMyrK is positioning himself on this buff, it's kind of alluding to a jungler possibly rotating over, and I like that Zachsy is opting to back off in advance.
I like it too. I feel like that's a play from KingMyrK that only works against good players. Like if you walk into like a ranked guy like that, and he's like, oh cool, my 1v1, he gets ganked like 100% of the time. But in this situation, even though there is no gank there, KingMyrK able to kind of signal it that maybe there's a little bit more backup, and Zachsy just going to play safe and fall back, which I think ends up being the right call on both counts, and everyone's fine. Yeah,
just nice player discipline out of Zachsy, really, because normally you see a level 6 Sylvanus and you're a level 8 Ullr, you've probably got the damage to confirm a solo kill against him.
Absolutely.
But then that also buys Layers enough time to fully rotate over. Speaking of rotating, Wolves making sure that Nexamiss won't have the ability to do so, going anywhere outside of his base.
Yeah, and at this point, DoctorL's got to come over to this lane a little bit more often, because Wolves clearly has this lane under his control. I mean, he's got the sustain, he's got the prot shred, he's just going to be able to outfight Nexamiss here on that Chulainn. DoctorL does come confirm the blue buff and block the wave, but Nexamiss is going to need a little bit more help than that.
DoctorL kind of just soaking up this farm, and it's needed farm for this Daji also, I would say, because Layers has had a steady lead over DoctorL ever since the start of this match, where oBoronic gets the first blood, and then he's able to rotate into duo with a level 5 ultimate. Wolves, however...
Jeez Louise! Are you kidding? Look at this damage. It's so disgusting. DoctorL, yeah, he does have to go up onto the powwow. Wolves is going to get pulled in by this. Through Space and Time was committed from oBoronic already, but that's not going to find DoctorL. Wolves can't get the kill, but does force out powwow.
But they just had to use so much. DoctorL has the back to base. Zachsy going to be able to force Astral to leash this, and now that Commando Snipes knows a Gold Fury attempt was being made, Astral Authority are going to have to fall back from it. But the fact that DoctorL loses 3/4 of his health bar to Wolves alone?
And I think that was just how Lewis saw. I didn't see if he did much else. I mean, I think he got a couple autos in afterwards, but mostly That was just tally assault damage. It's just too much at this point in the game as Nexamiss comes for the buff invade, despite the hurting that Wolves have been putting on him all game long. Speaking of this, Layers making the rotation over, and he's got the Transcendence. He's seen a little bit more of this lately, Taco.
Layers getting off to such a strong start is probably the main reason why we see him building straight into the Transcendence as opposed to finishing off his Mace Tree item. And I respect this call because mana sustain can be problematic for Susano. Now we won't have to worry about that issue, and there is enough power and cooldown reduction on this item to also make it worthwhile if you're already ahead. And since he is already decently ahead of DoctorL, he has a little bit more freedom to be flexible with his build.
It's a ton of power. You said the cooldown already, and it gives you a great power bank item. If he does elect to go into the Crusher as his next pen item, going to make that passive so much stronger for him, right? That dot damage is coming afterwards. So why not go for this Transcendence? It has a lot of stuff Susano wants anyway, so you can get those abilities off all the time. And it should make him even harder to deal with in these jungle fights. It looks like Astral are grouping up around the Gold Fury one more time.
For what it's worth, though, Astral looking pretty strong as is. Maybe a little bit less tunnel visioning. I think that the only reason oBoronic even died in the mid lane to begin with is because he seemed so stubborn about taking out DoctorL. I mean, he drops the portal knowing full well Elevate still have 2 members in the vicinity, and he just did not seem all that concerned about it.
I'm pretty sure Hamster and Snipes were right there in his face, like, and he's like, "No, that's not gonna be a big deal, right?
This is fine." See, the plan was to connect with the portal and then kill him with the Unstable Vortex before Elevate do anything about it, but sometimes it doesn't go as planned.
That was one of those times. No Gold Fury was looked at. We got a bit of a lull. This was huge action. There were 6 kills at 8 minutes. Since then, we've had 1 more kill, Taco. Things have kind of really fallen back and slowed down, but we already kind of talked about this. That could potentially favor Astral. They do have the Sylvanus with great heals coming out with those wisps. I mean, Terra does have some sustain as well to match it, but they've also got Layers on the Susano, a great late-game jungler, Cyprexa on the Hachiman, who looks great late too, and a Guan for even more healing if you thought they needed more. I mean, it's not going to be easy to fight into this Astral squad lane.
I will say, though, gotta respect the commitment and dedication from Wolves. Still choosing to invade by himself in Elevate's jungle, but Astral Authority, they know 3 members were just at that speed buff. They're looking to tackle this Gold Fury.
Well, they are on their way to try and stop it. DoctorL does go up onto the Pal-Out to avoid more Wolves. Chains force the beads from oBoronic. Wolves is going to get pulled back in, but the pull lands onto IAmTheHamster as well, right in the wrath of Terra. He may have dropped the Earth in Fury, but not enough. Wolves puts the hurtin' onto the support for Elevate. Now they can look at Gold Fury one more time.
4v5 advantage in Astral Authority's favor. Nexamiss going to get caught out, portal controlled. Unstable Vortex, he's looking for it. Nexamiss is so low already.
Nexamiss does end up falling, not before they trade one out, though. KingMyrK does end up falling, but trading your support for 3 lives, you make that trade every day. Forces the Aegis out from Commando, snipes, and he falls to Cyprexa. 4 members down. They want to try and chase out Zachsy, taking the portal aggressively as oBoronic. He's got Unstable Vortex. It chunks, and Zachsy has to leave. Gold Fury and 4 kills go the way of Astral.
Zachsy's just chilling inside of that purple buff, in fact. But he won't push forward anymore. Just accepts the fact that Astral Authority went out huge on that team fight. They get the Gold Fury after those 3 picks. Map control now going to be heavily in Astral's favor, even more so because there's no Gold Fury to take, so you don't know which direction the next gank is going to come from.
And what another great fight from this Astral Authority squad. I mean, game 1, they rotate over to the Gold Fury early, and Wolves is able to come over and have a bigger impact than Nexamiss, and it kind of feels like that's what happened here in game 2 as well. Now Astral Authority are looking towards the Pyromancer here, Taco, and only really DoctorL around to try and defend.
Have to throw it out there, though. As strong as Astral Authority are looking, Elevate just seems so frazzled right now. This is not looking anything like the sort of performances that we've seen from Elevate in the past. And in fact, they're kind of just letting Astral Authority walk all over them. They're baiting, or they're letting themselves get baited into Wolves.
There's definitely been a little bit of reeling here from Elevate, I feel like, but there are also some highlight plays, right? KingMyrK hits a great snipe onto IAmTheHamster with not a ton of setup. And it was really Hamster who started that fight off really well, pulling him in and taking Terra down early, forcing the Earth and Fury to come out suboptimally. That was really big for that team fight too. So, I mean, yes, Elevator makes some bad calls, but Astral is making some big individual plays too.
Speaking of individual plays, DoctorL looking to play aggressive now against Cyprexa. Will force out the mounted archery, but that's about all he's going to be able to get. Just narrowly dodging that pull from KingMyrK, and IAmTheHamster waiting in the jungle to see if he could assist.
Never feels good playing against a Sylvanus when those pulls are coming out. Just the worst. Fortunately, though, that one does not land. DoctorL is okay. And MOR Wolves free to continue proxy farming, as it appears he is. DoctorL, though, is lurking here for the duo lane. He's going to aggress onto Cyprexa. We know does not have the mounted archery. Goes right up onto the Pal-Out, drops the chains. That is not going to get the pull. Wrath of Terra is enough. They trade out the kill. Zachsy is going to make it 1-for-1, but I don't think he's going to have time to escape. Through space and time comes through, but Hamster, Commando, Snipes are all here. Zachsy is going to make it back out, but oBoronic, they want to look for a little bit more.
They were waiting for it. Commando Snipes has to dash away, will avoid the narrow, but the Wind Siphon pulls him right back into the fray.
Typhoon gonna knock him up. Aegis immune some damage, but not all. Zachsy still standing tall, gonna be putting out plenty of return damage. Is in that axe form as well if he wants to go on aggressive, but Unstable Vortex acts as a deterrent. Nice axe. Forces the beads from oBoronic, and he has to retreat. Soul Laners are on their way over here, though, Taco. Look at Nexamiss. He's looking for a chance to come in. Doesn't have Blink. He has Cursed Ankh, but he could certainly still come underneath this Tier 1 tower and cause problems as he leaps right on in.
He's just tanking up the T1 for free, it feels, as oBoronic going to be forced into that Aegis. Still looking for more, though. Cyprexa actually opting to back off here as Wolves cleans up IAmTheHamster.
But Nexamiss does find the kill on the KingMyrK. Both solo laners taking down the enemy support. oBoronic finds Nexamiss and punishes him for aggressing into the Tier 1 tower. Yet another fight going Astral Authority's way as two members still sitting out on the side of Elevate. They can't push into the Tier 1 tower, but Astral have won the fight. And Zachsy, despite me proclaiming his death minutes ago, still seems fine.
I thought Nexamiss was going to have a triple kill there for a second, but in the end, all he really managed to get is a level 11 support and oBoronic's Aegis.
Not really worth, I agree. And I don't know if it was, he comes in, he initially starts trying to force oBoronic. Like, it is KingMyrK that's the lower health target, but he kind of walks past him initially, and oBoronic Aegis is even while he's in the air. He can't follow up anymore, so he kind of turns back towards KingMyrK afterwards. It just didn't, even though there are a bunch of low health targets there, he couldn't find all of them.
I think it's the fact that Nexamiss is clearly about to dive the T1 tower, yet Elevate are still pushed at the halfway mark and actually falling back while Nexamiss is going in.
He should have had more support.
And there was no support factor there. That was the big thing for me. Elevate, I think they had the right idea. I think Nexamiss had the right idea.
Right.
Because that looked like a great team fight for Elevate to take up, but the overbearing concern about when would Layers rotate in just outweighed the positives of looking to commit for a dive there.
They were definitely scared about where Wolves was in the jungle, but I think you got it right. I mean, even you heard as I was casting, I got excited, like, he's coming on the back of the Phoenix, of the Tier 1. This is definitely kills, and he is able to find KingMyrK, but that's like it. He ends up falling to oBoronic, just couldn't get it done, didn't really have the support. Some of that credit goes to Wolves, though. He was definitely harassing everyone else from Elevate.
Yeah, it's kind of understandable why that fizzles out for Elevate and ends up being a net loss for the team. But you always have to wonder the what-if factors at times, I feel. And I think even players, while a match is going on, tend to get a little bit caught up in those what-if factors. So a big thing for me here, at least for Elevate, I want to see them just look to play a little bit more patiently.
Gold Fury now being looked at by Astral. Hamster has been zoned away. Unstable Vortex brings him down to about 60%. Gold Fury is still being leashed. Earth and Fury comes out from Hamster. Cyprexa's low. DoctorL comes on the backside but gets controlled. Able to follow through. Cyprexa falls. DoctorL tracks him down on the backside. They're not done yet. Nexamiss is here. KingMyrK does land a 3-man knockup. Through space and time comes through, but the Sylvanus gets deleted. Elevate finds another kill too for DoctorL so far. This is exactly the fight they needed.
Wolves has made the rotation in, but the deaths has already occurred. 4 members dead from Astral Authority. Only Wolves still left standing. Commando Snipes is incredibly low. So is IAmTheHamster. But Wolves just doesn't seem to care. He's still looking to defend this Gold Fury.
He's going to come back in and try to 1v5. Taco does not have the cavalry charge available. Gold Fury is still being leashed, and he's going to harass them as much as he possibly can. He's very tanky at this point, but is he tanky enough to continue surviving this? DoctorL's going to try and auto-trade. Gold Fury down to about 1,000 HP, and they are able to grab it. MOR Wolves has to retreat.
They've reset that Gold Fury so many times, though, and Astral Authority, Layers and oBoronic, both due to respawn any second here now, as Wolves still barely alive in the mid lane will finally end up falling here. And that's what I've been waiting for Elevate to do this entire game, though. Wolves has shown zero concern for anybody from Elevate, and he was still pushed up on Elevate's T1 tower line in mid at 30% health. You have to kill him every single time there.
And that time they finally do punish him, and this is good for Elevate. The only place they're behind, in all honesty, is Nexamiss is a little bit behind MOR Wolves, which gap they're working on closing while he's dead. Astral do come grab the Pyromancer, but DoctorL is relatively even with Layers. Commando Snipes right there with oBoronic. Zachsy right there with Cyprexa. And IAmTheHamster maybe even a tiny bit ahead of KingMyrK. This game hasn't gotten entirely out of control for Elevate as long as they can control Wolves.
And that little bit of a lead that Astral Authority did have, I think, kind of went a little bit too much to their heads, because
maybe, yeah,
that fight just felt so disoriented from Astral Authority in comparison to how clean a lot of their engagements have been. Cyprexa, first and foremost, getting picked off in that way. I mean, he was just way too far apart from the rest of his team.
I think they didn't expect such an all-in commit from Elevate there. Like, they might have thought they had that one for free, because we do see Hamster go in and defend, but Hamster, I think, is probably the reason they win that fight. That Earth and Fury, it doesn't hit very many members of Elevate, but he at least puts it on everyone from Astral, and that sets up the initial big burst that comes in from DoctorL onto Cyprexa and forces him back. In fact, DoctorL might be looking for the run back on that as Cyprexa's in trouble. Trickster Spirit comes out, still has the mounted archery, so he is able to escape. Gets a 3 space and timeout from oBoronic as well. Astral very worried there. They give up 2 ults for free.
But look at the grouping from Astral Authority. 4 members still hovering this mid to dual lane side of things is Elevate. 5-man grouping now, ready to try and siege this T1 tower.
oBoronic gonna push a little bit separate away. This Tier 1 tower is in trouble from Elevate on the left-hand side. They bring it down. Though 22 minutes, 43 seconds into the game, Astral not going to cry too much over dropping that Tier 1 tower. They're going to step forward, not let anything else go back over to the boys in blue, though.
Cyprexa has just finished off that Poison Star, however, and with the Executioner and Ikavol in tow, that's more than enough attack speed to continuously spam that crit damage, hopefully. Depends on how Cyprexa's life RNG is feeling until he gets some more online. But this is still a pretty good spot to be in if you're Astral Authority. They're not behind, but they're not exactly ahead either. It's a slim margin.
They're very, very close. And Astral Authority, again, if you're close with a composition with a Guan Sylvanus on it, then really they're kind of ahead because their sustain is so strong. Elevate, though, have done a good job of bursting these last couple of fights. Cyprexa never had a chance to back up and heal with Wolves or heal with KingMyrK. He got deleted immediately. They're going to have to do that if they want to try and beat these fights, because Astral have so much sustain.
I love this from Elevate, going straight for that Fire Giant. Astral Authority backs up to warding, assuming that everything's going to be fine. Wolves jumping in, but won't be able to stop it in time.
That's a huge play. Through space and time does clip Zachsy paired up with Wolves, so he's going to have to retreat. Earth and Fury comes out, so they can look for the disengage. Nexamiss continuing to box it out. DoctorL, a little bit of trouble on the right-hand side, too. Astral, after getting caught sleeping, are trying to find a way to punish.
And they might end up getting punished themselves, though. They're going really deep to chase down DoctorL. Will manage to force out the Daji's powwow, and that's a slight win for Astral. But losing the Fire Giant, everybody's sent back to base at the exact same time. You can't be doing that.
And in this case, they're going to pay dearly for it. All 5 members of Elevate have the Fire Giant, and they make it out safely after grabbing it. Now, this is a good way to even up that distance that's created by the sustain. They're going to have sustain of their own, plus they still have Hamster with that little bit of Terra sustain that's there. It's not a ton, but they have it. So now Elevate can start looking for some sieges here, Taco, and try and get some more gold in their hands.
I do have some concerns, though, about Elevate's siege potential. Most definitely looking towards DoctorL and Zachsy here on this one, because the big thing is going to be protecting Zachsy. We didn't really see any protection towards Zachsy in the previous game, and so moments where Elevate looked as though they might end up pulling ahead, they'd usually fall behind because Zachsy would just get picked off. And now if they're able to protect this Ullr throughout the sieging process, then we might see some real turnaround comeback potential from Elevate.
And for all the grief we were giving Ullr earlier. I mean, look where he is. He's second in player damage, about 4,000 ahead of his direct opposition in the form of Cyprexa. 2-0-4, has not fallen yet this game. He doesn't have beads, though, for another minute. That could make him a slightly easier target for Astral if they can find them soon enough, as Gold Fury being looked at.
Zachsy has also been playing much further back this game in comparison to the last one. And I think that's the way to do it, because otherwise you just end up with Wolves in your face for a year and a half, and he'll probably win that trade.
Wolves still having a great game on that Guan Yu. Happy to continue things going. Tier 1 tower in mid being looked at, and apparently Wolves doesn't want to give up the Tier 1 tower. He's coming on the backside. He is going to be looking for Commando Snipes. That does force out his beads as well. Now Wolves can just retreat. Actually, the bombs are coming out there, chunking him a good bit. He makes it out, though, getting the beads away from Commando for basically free.
That's all Wolves wanted in the first place. Now this opens up the pathway for Layers to potentially blink in, grab that Wind Siphon onto Commando Snipes, pull him out of position and away from his team, and then rely on the follow-up damage from oBoronic and Cyprexa to take out this Agni.
Layers also has that Mad Guy's Cloak, so it's going to be even harder to control him once he blinks in. He certainly is going to have his eyes on Commando Snipes on the backside. Astral Authority against a Fire Giant team grouping up to defend a Tier 1. Nexamiss goes in initially, can't find it. Hamster going to drop the totem, and they are going to start fighting, but Mountain Archery is right back and available, or rather their cavalry charge. Not going to find the stun onto Commando Snipes, who has to dash away, and now Wolves, the collapse is on for him.
But DoctorL, he's got the same vision in mind as Layers. Both of these junglers sitting on either side of their teams, ready to commit.
But none of the backliners have stepped out of position just yet, Taco. Zachsy and Commando Snipes are hugging up against Hamster and Nexamiss to try and make sure if the jungler comes in, they'll be safe. Layers is waiting on the right-hand side, so is oBoronic. They get the Tier 1 tower, but that's it. This is a Fire Giant squad, and they can't find a way to push further than that.
oBoronic looking to defend the T2, doesn't want to get split entirely against Elevate. DoctorL's split push, and Janus, very hard to out-rotate. Layers also in the jungle, DoctorL proccing those Torture Blades, getting ready to commit onto Layers.
This ult is up so often for MOR Wolves. It's giving them several different cavalry charges here in this fight. Earth and Fury comes out from Hamster, though, a great siege tool in its own right, and the Tier 2 tower is going to be in trouble. Astral Authority have to give it up. But that's it, Taco. Fire Giant on this Elevate squad, and they get a couple Tier 1 towers and a Tier 2.
Elevate just took so long to siege there in the mid lane. That hesitation factor, I think, could end up biting them in the butt pretty soon here if they're not careful.
The rest of Astral are now rotating over to defend the Tier 2. Teleport's going to be coming out. Wall lands from Hamster, but the rest of the Astral team are here to defend. MOR Wolves, of course, at the very forefront of this fight and trying to force the rest of Elevate back. Zachsy is the furthest away, already jumping out, and Wolves has the ultimate available again through space and time to try and cut off the escape path. Nexamiss instead is just going to come back and try and disorient the backline and force away oBoronic and the Hunter as well. This is a great call to try and stop him from doing damage, but the chains are going to land. DoctorL finds the pull and has to jump away.
Zachsy falling incredibly low here. All four members of Elevate not sitting super healthy. Astral Authority waste no time in resieging the dual lane T1 that they just lost, and now they're even looking to pressure the T2.
No hesitation from this Astral Authority team. They are ready to push in. In fact, Layers gonna take the portal. He's gonna make Zachsy his target. Aegis doesn't keep him alive long enough. Layers finds the kill. Now he's stuck on a bad side of town. Wolves is gonna get up on the horse and find his way out. The portal from oBoronic is perfect to let the jungler escape. They grab the Tier 2 and escape with all 5 of their lives.
The downsides of being an Ullr into a CC-heavy composition. All it takes is one single ability. Wind Siphon immediately throws Zachsy far enough away from his team to cause him to jump right into a panic mode. I don't even think he had a chance to jump away there.
No, he got punished entirely too quickly there, Taco. This Astral squad now is showing what this late game composition can do. They can defend against the siege well, they can re-siege well, and take those fights with the through space and time to sort of cut off the escape path from their opposition. And now they're looking for the Fire Giant. Hamster's here. Commando Snipes is on his way. They are going to be here in time to defend. Fire Giant only at half HP.
Astral Authority, they have to secure this objective. Unstable Vortex going to need to be the relying factor. Instead, they're going to pay no mind to the Fire Giant and look to take up the fight instead.
Fire Giant, though, has been re-grabbed through space and time. Comes through. oBoronic deletes Commando Snipes, but Elevate, they get the Fire Giant again. Nexamiss takes down Cyprexa. That's a 2-for-1 so far. Astral Authority, they may not have gotten the objective, but they're going to get all the blood they want. They get a double kill for Layers, and now they're looking for Nexamiss as well.
Zachsy shouldn't even bother trying to peel for this Chulainn.
No.
I'm pretty sure he's as good as toast. Tallow Assault steadily tearing away at Nexamiss' health. Slow gonna be provided also from that threshold, and it's only a matter of time before Nexamiss ends up falling here.
Mantle of Discord does give him a moment, but only a moment. Layers finds the kill. Zachsy has to fall back. Tier 2 tower is being sieged. 20+ seconds on the next person to come in and help Zachsy. If they had Cyprexa, Taco, we're talking Phoenixes here, but without that Hunter damage, the siege is just too slow. It's so important that Elevate were able to get Cyprexa.
Does make a little bit of a difference, but Astral Authority might still be looking for it anyway. No, instead, it's just going to be Wolves doing the standard Wolves things, standing right there in front of everyone in the mid lane. No concerns about falling here either, and Astral Authority, they just have to clean up their objective play.
They got to. I mean, they cannot lose 2 Fire Giants in a row, right? This time, they at least take the Fire Giant away from Elevate, but again, this is Astral having to tread water again, not being able to siege. Even without Cyprexa, if they have Fire Giant and they have Layers and they've got oBoronic up doing damage as well, they might be able to get through these towers a little bit faster, but without Fire Giant and without their Hunter, there just was no chance. They can't let that happen.
Although, to be fair, Elevate, I think, also let their judgment get a little clouded there by seeing how low the Fire Giant was and trying to commit everything to picking it up over Astral. Because Commando Snipes, I couldn't tell if he dashed in, but he definitely went way too close to the Fire Giant pit to try and drop all of his bombs on top of it, and Astral Authority leashed it at the exact same moment before Commando Snipes had a chance to take the aggro from it.
Now there's another grouping by the Tier 2 tower of Astral. Looks like Elevate are the ones who are trying to force the fight. They do still have Fire Giant on Zachsy, so he can take these structures down relatively quickly, but Astral are here in full force and ready to defend. Nexamiss is pushed up a little bit further than the rest of his team. He certainly could get collapsed on here if he's not careful. He's been slowed. Unstable Vortex doesn't quite hit, and he should be okay.
Elevate, though, just can't seem to pack a punch into these Astral Authority defenses. It's so difficult to try and siege against this double healer composition. Astral are just sustaining themselves throughout the duration of these team fights, even with Elevate having that upgraded Cursed Ankh.
But Cyprexa's got to stay alive. 5 deaths. He's got the most on his team. Elevate have been able to track him down in all these fights. He's got the Deathbringer, Wind Demon, Poison Star. My man has the crit online. If he can stay alive in these fights, he can absolutely shred Elevate at this point in the game, because there really are no Thorns, not even any Hides. There is a Spectral that's coming out from Nexamiss, but that's not who you really want with the crit build anyway.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to see Cyprexa focusing the Chulainn unless the other 4 members of Astral are with him. And he's the last one standing. Speaking of which, Wolves now, Tallow Assault versus Nexamiss' auto attacks. And I think we've seen this one for the first, 20 minutes of solo lane anyway. Wolves might have had the better trade in the laning phase, but Nexamiss seeming to beat up Wolves a little bit now.
Looks like it is going to be time for the fight, though, as Wolves goes up onto the horse. Can't find a target. Everyone jumps away. So turns instead back towards Nexamiss, who's all alone on an island. Portal going to drop him right back in. Even with the Rage Shield, Cyprexa able to find the last shot. Cyprexa does have to use Aegis as DoctorL goes up onto the powwow. Isn't going to find anyone to pull in, and now he has to Trickster Spirit, but through space and time is there. DoctorL gets deleted by the Unstable Vortex, and the rest of the squad just going to take the portal to cut off the path. Nowhere for Hamster to go, nowhere for Commando Snipes to go. Aegis keeps him alive for a second, but Cyprexa with the crits is able to take him down.
And just look at Zachsy all the way back there, so split apart from the rest of his team. 4 members dead now from Elevate. Zachsy, the last one standing, but he's just going to get chased out by KingMyrK. Meanwhile, Astral Authority is going to try and end.
What a great trade from Astral. They absolutely do not need KingMyrK for this push, and Elevate's only hope is that Zachsy somehow 1v5s, and he can't do that because he cannot back. This is perfect for them, and now they're just going to push down on the left-hand side. They are going to be able to take down this Phoenix relatively quickly. They need oBoronic there. He's on his way as fast as Janus can go, but Phoenix is down. 6 seconds on Nexamiss. Now, if he can make it back, he certainly can defend, and Zachsy was able to back too.
I actually really like what oBoronic chose to do there, because now they're going to have a way of pushing in. Unstable Vortex just completely destroys Zachsy in the process. Also, doesn't even get a chance to try and survive.
Wow.
Same story told for Nexamiss as they both end up taking a spill.
I thought they might have had a chance to defend Taco, but they absolutely did not. They end on a deicide. Astral 26-13, 35 minutes in, take game 2, and they take the set here over Elevate.
it looked promising for a moment there.
For Elevate,
games, Elevate, managing to steal away the Fire Giant, but it just didn't seem to matter in the end. They weren't able to actually utilize that Fire Giant buff. More often than not, they'd end up losing at least 3 members of their team in the process, whether it was on the Fire Giant directly or from the sieges that came after the fact. Elevate just really seemed to struggle with knowing how to properly team fight during those siege moments.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that after that second Fire Giant where only Zachsy had the buff, that Elevate wanted to try and push into the tier 2. I'm a little bit curious that that's the call they end up making. Is their siege stronger than their defense would have been in that situation, Taco?
I think that they weren't really in a position to get a choice or a say there. It's kind of felt like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for Elevate, because having the Ullr as the only one with the Fire Giant buff, you want to try and capitalize off of it. You want to try and build off of that and look for the tower sieges. It's just that the composition from Astral felt a little bit stronger, and that's what ultimately gave them the edge in the end.
It does feel like they just kind of had the better draft in that game, and really, I feel like the game was only 35 minutes because they didn't confirm 2 Fire Giants in a row, right? They probably would have been able to try and at least make some pushes a lot sooner, but they gave those ways back out for Elevate a couple times in a row. But let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule here, Taco. That way we can see these matchups. Again, we did just check out Elevate versus Astral. That was a 2-0, and we also saw Revenge over EU powerhouses, but off screen, Rival able to beat Fable and Flashpoint able to beat other Fable.
L's in both sides, unfortunately, for Fable, so hopefully better luck next time. But more importantly, I think that it's clear the competition is definitely ramping up as the splits progress.
That's right. They're all trying to work right now, Taco, towards making it to HRX there at the end. So you'll be able to grab those tickets. Come join us yourself there in November at that same event. That's kind of what everyone's working towards right now.
Yeah, DreamHack's definitely bound to be bundles of fun. You can get a chance to meet some of your favorite players, engage with some of the other fans, and
that's right.
Most importantly, finally get Finch to dab for you in person. Nobody can see that.
What do you mean? Nothing even happened.
If that's what you want them to believe, that's fine. I'm sure production's got that one for later.
No, they don't have that. Joe, I'm talking directly to you now, not even the audience. Don't capture that. Okay? Thank you. Come to HRX though. At DreamHack. That way you'll come meet me, come meet Taco, meet your favorite players, all the favorite personalities. We'll all be there. Handyman will be there. He'll be British and savage. I know you all love that meme. Does never get stale. So just come hang out with us. Come hang out with your favorite players. And we also have the SPL. That's going to be starting up as well, 3 p.m. Eastern. So stick around with us, about an hour and a half out or so if you're in other time zones. And we'll be able to have that SPL action for you as well.